Streaks are a huge part of why people keep coming back to Call of Duty every single year. As a reward for getting a bunch of kills or playing the objective, you get access to a huge reward that could possibly shift the entire course of the battle. But what about the streaks that weren't flashy or explosive? Welcome to the channel today, everybody. Jimmy or Chaos, and today we're going to take a trip through COD history and check out the 10 best non-lethal streaks that we've ever gotten in Call of Duty. You let me know in the comments which of these was your favorite. Drop a like. Make sure you guys are subscribed on our way back to 3 million subs. And at number 10 has to be the SAM turret. I have a soft spot for the SAM turret. The set it and forget it type of streaks are always some of my favorites. And back in the Xbox 360 era of Call of Duty, the SAM was a pretty awesome streak to have in your lineup. It was easy to earn, and then you could just throw it down in the back of the map, forget about it, and let it go to work. The SAM turret would almost immediately target any airborne streaks the enemy team called in, and then it would start firing rockets at them, usually taking them down within seconds of initially targeting them, and it didn't seem to have a payload. I think it was infinite. Streaks like UAVs, spy planes, they would be shot down almost immediately. Bigger streaks like helicopters, AC-130s, they would be gone in a few shots. But the SAM turret back in the original Black Ops and the original Modern Warfare 3, it was awesome. I'm happy to call it one of the best non-lethal streaks in COD history, and it's a great way to kick off today's video. At number 9, the UAV. It's appeared in basically every single Call of Duty multiplayer under a couple different names. Sometimes it's a UAV, sometimes it's a spy plane, sometimes it's the recon plane, but no matter what it's called, it's basically always going to do the same thing. It's going to give you that sweeping look at the enemy team for 30 seconds, assuming it doesn't get shot down. Now, the UAV is a great streak because it's never too expensive, never feels like it wasn't helpful or wasn't worth calling in. It was a great low-tier streak. It always gave you that little bit of edge on the battlefield, and I'm pretty sure Ghost is the only COD game to ever not have it as a streak in one way or another. Yes, there was a SATCOM. There was a box that you put on the ground, but I don't count that as a proper UAV equivalent. There's a reason that that thing never returned after Call of Duty Ghosts. Before we move on, guys, if you get anything from G2A, be sure to use code CHAOS. Get yourself some cash back. The link is at the top of the description. At number 8, the counter UAV. Much like the UAV, the counter is a staple of the Call of Duty formula because it's basically always helpful and it's never too hard to earn. It's literally just the opposite of the UAV. Instead of giving you the sweeping look at where enemies are on the map, it blocks out the enemy's team's map for 30 seconds, again, assuming it doesn't get shot down. Plus, from Black Ops 2 onwards, you could get an assist for every single kill your team scores while the counter UAV is in the air. It's like a chef's kiss, similar to how it works with the standard UAV. This meant running both the UAV and the counter at the same time was not only super helpful for your team, but would also absolutely shower you in XP because you were getting at least 20 points for every kill your team scored. The UAV and counter are both staples of the franchise. They deserve shout-outs. How many of you back in, what was it? It was Black Ops 1, UAV, counter UAV, spy plane, or Blackbird? Yeah. Oh, yeah. At number 7, the Night Owl. Now, we got haters back in the COD Ghost days, and I admit I threw my fair share of shade at it, but ultimately, I think it was a pretty helpful streak most of the time. Now, it did kind of paint a target on your back while flying around, signaling enemies your presence. Yeah, I know. But it would also keep you alive. Maintain your streak when you would have otherwise been sent back to the lobby. The Night Owl was basically a trophy system drone that you would call in and it would fly around next to you, shooting down any enemy equipment that came at your way. Like I said, it would sometimes give your position away because of how obvious it would be in certain lighting, but every time if you got noticed, it would also save your life. So I'm going to put it on the list for being a mostly good non-lethal streak, coming clutch sometimes. At number 6, please be nice to me. The system hack. I know. It's appeared only once in COD history, and that's probably a good thing because if this streak became a staple, we'd have a rough time. The system hack appeared in Advanced Warfare, and upon calling it in, it would mess with the enemy's team user interface, and if you ran the right variant, you could even disable their exosuits for the entirety of the streak's effect as well. Made them a bunch of sitting ducks on most of the maps. The system hack was one of the most hated streaks in COD history because it was obnoxious. It was. And that's precisely the reason I put it on the list. We all hated it because it was powerful. And since it didn't actually deal any damage, here it is. This thing was way too cheap to earn, given how much damage it did to the enemy team's composition. Do you remember the system hack right when it came out and you couldn't even see your screen before they nerfed it? Woo! Now we crack into the top 5. The recon drone has to be one of the most misunderstood streaks in COD history. Let me clarify. This support streak showed up in the original Modern Warfare 3. It was one of the least popular streaks in the entire game, despite being extremely powerful if you knew how to use it. Little remote-controlled helicopter, you could fly around the map, tag enemy players, jam their UI, permanently painting them on your teammates' maps, just like an advanced UAV. And then on top of that, you'd get assist XP when they were inevitably taken out by another player. It wasn't very popular because it was awkward to control, and it didn't have any killing power. But if you were playing in objective mode and knew what you were doing, the recon drone could get you literally dozens of assists in a single match. Made it way easier for your team to win efficiently. It wasn't popular, but it was good. At number 4, the EMP. It's never been one of the most popular streaks in Call of Duty due to the extremely high cost and lack of lethal power, but if you were one of the absolute chads who always ran this streak, you know how good it is, or was. It was often one of the most expensive streaks in every Call of Duty game, but if you managed to get it, you would not only shut down enemy interfaces for a full minute, you would also destroy all streaks and all equipment currently sitting on the map, and it kept enemies from using more until that EMP effect was over. It was really powerful. It would force the enemy team to not only rely on their ears and gun skills for a full 60 seconds, but they were flying blind. You could do a ton of damage in that time frame. It was great for objective game modes, as you could almost always gain control of the map and maintain it for as long as that EMP was active. I mean, if you were someone who was good enough to get high-tier streaks and you chose to run it, okay, you're a champion. At number 3, ballistic vests. Health is arguably the most valuable aspect of Call of Duty. If you have more health than the enemy, guess what? You can win that fight. Depends on how quick the time to kill is in most of the multiplayers. It's for that very reason the ballistic vests are so awesome in every game they've shown up, and I still think the best iteration was the one in the original Modern Warfare 3. The BVs were part of the support strike package in Modern Warfare 3 that could be earned for just 5 points. You'd get a duffel bag of ballistic vests that anyone on your team could interact with, giving themselves an extra 2 to 3 shots on their health and giving them a huge advantage in their next gunfight. Plus, the ballistic vest would give you XP every time a teammate claimed one. Meaning, if you were trying to level up quickly in that game, they were there. They were awesome. Pretty sure the COD Ghost ones were pretty good as well. At number 2, the Power Core. Raise your hand if you remember this. This score streak was one of the most expensive things in Black Ops 3. But it was really, really worth it because of how much damage it would do to the enemy team without ever doing damage. It would cost 1,400 points. It was a physical device that you planted on the ground like you would a Sentry or a Guardian, but once activated, the Power Core would destroy all enemy streaks and devices on the field just like an EMP. It would keep them from using any more gear for a long time. It would reduce the effectiveness of enemy thrust packs, meaning if your enemy whipped out the Power Core, your thrust jumps were going to be shorter, your slide was going to be way less effective until that Power Core was gone. And yes, you could destroy it, but it had so much health, you'd be better off just waiting for the effects to go away, because otherwise you were going to get killed 10 times in a row by somebody just shooting you every time you tried to destroy their Power Core. It was insanely powerful. It never returned after Black Ops 3, but if we ever get another jetpack Call of Duty game, I'd kind of like to see it come back. It's kind of a mix between the system hack and the EMP. Yeah. And at number 1 today, the best non-lethal streak in COD history has to be the Blackbird VSAT. Now, the Power Core made the enemy team helpless. The Blackbird made your team unstoppable. I think that's ultimately what made it better. The Blackbird debuted in Black Ops 1, and it was an upgraded UAV that not only showed your enemy locations in real time, but you also got a live look at what direction they were actually facing, making them the easiest kills of the entire match for a full 60 seconds. Then, it was reworked into the VSAT for Black Ops 2. You may know it as the Advanced UAV, but you're wrong. It's either the VSAT or the Blackbird. The Advanced UAV was cool, but it wasn't nearly as effective because it rarely refreshed at the same speed as the Blackbird or the VSAT, and it could actually be destroyed easy. The Blackbird and VSAT, however, could not be cut short by anything other than an EMP, and for that, it gets the number 1 spot on the list today. It's easily the best non-lethal streak in COD history and an essential part of the COD experience. There you go, my friends. Let me know one non-lethal that we forgot to mention today, and I'll see you soon.